Joanne, 67 years old. I've been riding for about 15, 17 years. I forget exactly when I started. I was born and raised in Northern Ontario. I'm the only daughter of a family of 7, so I have lots of brothers, and I'm the only one who rides. Being with women riders is inspirational. I ride with women that have been riding for 30, 40 years, and I ride with women that are just learning. And it's the way we all protect each other and take care of each other as we're going along the highway that's inspirational. I've made so many good friends through the biking that I would probably have never met or never have become friends with otherwise. There's a saying in this industry is that nobody gets left behind. So you know when you're with people riding, women especially, that if something happens, your bike breaks down, they're going to stay there with you until it gets fixed. If you get lost, they're going to come back and look for you. I've seen that happen many a times, that one rider has disappeared, so we all go back and look, or some wait and some look. It's a 2009 Street Bob. It's beautiful, and I call her Jean because it's a denim paint job, so it's a blue jean.
Very nice.
I bought it, I think it's almost 10 years ago now that I traded, well, 8 years ago I guess, that I traded my Sportster that I rode for 10 years and traded up for this because this was a lot easier to handle than the Sportster. I was told that the Sportster is the hardest bike to learn to ride on, so that's where I started. Yeah, it's never really done me any wrong, other than if I forget to turn the light off, the battery dies, but we fix that. I've always liked bikes. I've always liked the biker community where, okay, let's face it, I just like the outdoor parties, the bands, and the freedom of just being who you are and not having to worry about what you say or what you do because you're going to be judged. I drive a transport truck for a living, which is what gave me the ability to be able to ride. Made enough money, I say I work to pay for my Harley. There's no judgment about what I wear or whether I want to flash my boots or not. Who cares, really, right? It's all fun and games.
Occasional scenes of nudity. Sounds like an exciting club. That's funny. All this chicken food stuff on her bike.
Yeah. I think you must have one of those shots.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Heather Larson. I am a recovering musician. I am a mom. I have been on motorcycles since I was a toddler back in the 70s when you could endanger children and your parents would put you on the front of the motorcycle with a little clamshell helmet. This is my latest bike and my first Harley Davidson. It is a 22 Heritage Classic. I absolutely love it. It's probably the most comfortable bike I've ever ridden. The first bike I ever rode was a Kawasaki 400, 1977. That was my mother's bike, which I learned on when I was 15 and started riding at. So I gotta say, the first long-ish ride I did, and probably the worst ride I ever did, was taking the bike to Wingham to get some work done when I was about 16 years old. I was going up Highway 21 from Goderich, and I hit a frog. Now, when you hit a frog with the front wheel of your motorcycle, you spread that frog a good God knows how long. And I went sideways, and I was spitting peg sparks, and somehow someone had plans for me yet that day. It's up in the air as to who by several people's accountings. But I got the bike upright and I got to the side of the road and I parked the bike and I got off and I sat there for a bit and gathered myself because I did not wreck the motorcycle. And then I got back on and I kept riding. And that is probably, that was the closest I ever came to going down. Yeah, I keep doing it. I have metal in my ankle from roller derby. I have 2 fake hips from arthritis, and I am still on this motorcycle and out doing it. So there is absolutely no excuse. A few years ago, I was run off the road at the Bridgeport exit near Kitchener by some kids just coming off the 85, and I was going on to the road, and I had to make the decision to go down on the cement or go down in the grass. And I figured the grass would be the better option. By doing that, I spun off the bike after I laid it down and got up and looked for my shoe, rage lifted the bike, got it back up on the road. So with, windshield shrapnel in my face and everything, I rode the bike home. And I firmly am convinced if I did not get back on that bike when I did, it may have been a while before I got back on. So that would have to be my all-time toughest. But yeah, there's no excuse to not just get right back on it. In the bike and in life, just get right back on, keep riding. We live in a country where we can only ride so many months a year. I would love to ride my bike more. Life gets in the way. So this year I'm going on a relay trip to Winnipeg, and it's going to be the longest I've ridden as an adult. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited about it though. I'm one of the people who has things going on in my head all the time. So whereas a lot of people don't like riding with music, I like having music in my Bluetooth when I'm riding. No matter what's happened in my day, this takes me out of my head because this demands everything that you're doing. This demands everything. If you're on this bike, you're paying attention to everything. I am firmly convinced that everyone who drives, if one of the first things you should do is get on a motorcycle with somebody, because that will teach you that you are not God, you are not protected, you don't have 2,000 pounds of metal around you, so you have to be more careful, you have to pay attention. So that, I think, is probably, it makes me better at my job, it makes me a better person, it makes me easier to deal with as a whole.
I'm Motojules 21 and I live in North Texas, and Harley Girl asked me to answer a couple of questions. The first one is what influenced me to start riding. And in 2020, you know, I know for some it was a really bad year. For me, 2020 was pivotal in my life. I can definitely say that. I sat at home working, just me and my little dog, from March until the beginning of August. And then at the beginning of August, when I could tell that, you know, we weren't going back to the office anytime soon and I was going to be working remotely for a while, I decided there was no reason for me to sit here in my house just looking out the front window working. I could be working from anywhere. So I packed a bag, put my dog in the car, and we took off. We went to southeastern Utah, and I ended up spending 3.5 months there. I did a lot of things, had a lot of adventures, made some good friends. One of those friends was someone who put me on the back of his bike, and we rode through national parks, mountains, canyons, Monument Valley. We just did so much. And after my time there was over and I was back home at the end of November of 2020, I thought about that experience and I thought about what meant the most to me. And thinking about it, what really stood out to me were those rides on the motorcycle. So I decided then and there, you know, I didn't know anyone that rode, and I decided I'm a single woman. I'm gonna just take the bull by the horns and gonna learn to ride myself. So I looked it up and signed up for a class at my local Harley Davidson, and in mid-January took the class, passed, got my M for my license, and picked a bike, an Indian Chief, and honestly I never looked back. So happy that experience in 2020 influenced me to start riding. I've made so many friends and had just some amazing adventures by motorcycle riding. And the second question that Harley Girl asked me to answer was, when I first started riding, what were some challenges I faced and how did I overcome them? So when I started riding in 2021, I was well over 50 years old. I didn't know anything about motorcycles other than I'd sat on the back of one on a few rides. When I showed up for my course, my Motorcycle Safety Foundation class to get my license, I learned that motorcycles were not automatic. They had gears, I had to shift, I had to learn a lot of different things. I received my license, and then after receiving my license, I began to learn what I call the physics of motorcycles and riding. And by that I mean things like speed, braking, body position, all the things that influence how a motorcycle stays upright. And for me, the way I learn is to just get on it and go. So after having my bike for just a couple weeks, and I hadn't gone out of my neighborhood yet, so I decided I was just gonna get on it and go. And I got on it and went on a 90-mile ride, learned a lot that first time, and then just slowly kept progressing until I feel like, for the most part, motorcycle physics are pretty natural now. However, I would say challenges I still have are U-turns and turning at slow speeds to a stop. I still get nervous with those. I need to practice them more. My plan is to take an advanced rider's course specifically for those things so that I do become more comfortable with doing those slow speed maneuvers. Thank you.